Music has the most amazing attributes to it. It's something that we're born with. It's something that, given the fact that 90% of us are made of water, 90% of our bodies, we are very subject to the movement of tides, of ripples, of basically a world that flows. We're living in a flowing world. We're not living in a world of boxes. And because of this, if we start becoming in tune with ourselves as human beings, and in tune with other human beings as well, suddenly things go a bit more easier. So how does this work? Well, several people have given some very scholarly words about it. There's something called the Mozart effect. Mozart effect basically means that if you play classical music to babies in the womb, that it speeds up their development incredibly, and the benefits are reaped in the years that follow. Carlos Santana, the great South American musician, said that music changes us on a molecular level. Now, of all the weird things he said, that's probably one of the most profound, because it's true. It's absolutely true. The human being, the way we behave as human beings and as individuals, our behaviors, if we work backwards, they come from the decisions we make, both individually and collectively. How do we make those decisions? We have something called values. Now, the discussion these days should be about values. Everything else should come from values, not let's do things that make us remind ourselves that we have values. It's the wrong way around. Where do those values come from? Well, they come from who we are, our identity, both as individuals and as a collective as well. And our culture, we call it culture. Now, there's something that's really disregarded in this world, this modern world, where we get meals that you can throw away the box after 5 minutes after paying for it. We become people like that as well. We become disposable people with disposable culture. And so it's kind of like, I feel a thought coming on, must take some television. E. Cummings. I also got my references. But that's basically the idea. We become these passive sheep. So I have this theory that if we start remembering who we are as human beings, then we will start changing as individuals and also as a collective. And these things will start working themselves out. These things that are meant to help us are not going to become masters of us. They're going to become servants of us, and good servants as well. And so if you look at human existence, almost like an onion. Your life is an onion. Exactly, I should say parfait. No one likes onions. Parfait. Think your life is a parfait. No, think your life is an onion. It works far better. In the middle of the onion is you. Okay? The layer outside is your immediate group around you, probably your family unit. Outside is your community. Outside is the country. Outside is the world. That's how it works. So obviously what you do in the middle is going to change what happens on the outside of the onion, surely. What's happening on the outside will affect you, indeed, but it's not going to change who you are if you don't let it change who you are. That's why music is so important. It helps us remember who we are. It helps us remember how we fit into this incredibly complex machine we call civilization and life. It's because it reminds me that I'm like you. I respond in the same way as you listen to Louis Armstrong, What a Wonderful World. I have brought up children. I have gone through death. I have gone through life. I have gone through embarrassment, I've gone through triumph. Always there's music attached to it. That's the way we do it. Music works with your triumphs. All of that stuff is there. And guess what glues it together? It's culture, and more specifically music. That's why we have these phrases like the soundtrack of your life, for example, because it means something. It's a cliche, but if a Beethoven was so fantastic, and it had rock music in it and all of that, why did we change? Why did we stop listening to Mozart and Beethoven? Why did the world have to move on? When we got to the 50s and rock and roll happened and people thought, well, that finally youth is having a word. That lasted 6 years, the heart of rock and roll. It was replaced by the hippies and protest music and folk music. Cool. Bob Dylan is the font of all truth. The hippies understood the age of people. So why aren't we listening to hippie music? Well, some of us still do. But the thing is, music is changing all the time. But it's staying the same all the time. And in its best form, music represents the thoughts of the common man. It represents without any particular agenda. And I'm not talking about small things like a musician wants to pay his bond or wants to eat. I'm not talking about that stuff. That's acceptable. But doing something just for the pure, pristine beauty and the value of it, that's what music takes you into, that kind of realm. And so when singers write down songs and songwriters and sing them, it's because they're telling the story of the common man. They're explaining things in a way that you can understand. And guess what? We're the same as we were 10,000 years ago as a species, as we will be in 10,000 years' time as a species. The same basic character. A tiger is a tiger, a human being is a human being. So just to prove relevance, I think, with everything that's been happening this week, which is quite incredible, I thought of an insert I made it's more than a few years ago, it's over a decade ago, when we had exactly the same situation. There's a South African band called Just Ginger, who can't spell, but boy, they can make cool music. This song is one of those lovely little songs that never hit the hit parade, but everyone kind of knows it. It's one of those underground songs. And it's my appeal, basically, just to let music remind us of who we are. Here's what it means.
There is grace in the sun, love, more tolerance, faith, hope, trust in the same God in whose name we die for, taking innocent life for that's not what it means, and it doesn't matter what book you read.
Indeed, peace, love, faith, more tolerance. They seem so easy and they seem so cheap and so easy to say and pay lip service to. And I hope I've showed you a way that we can actually live those things in our hearts. We should wake up every morning with those words in our head: peace, love, tolerance. That's what I'm going to do today. I'm just a human being today. Why not? Let's just do something different. Let's just be a person.